Okay, so this is to demonstrate hand placement in Kali Ki Reiki. Again, those of you who have done Reiki before, it's not that different, but I'll put this under your knees. And, this is not going to be a full session or it'd be the full hour, and we have miles to go before we end. So, are you ready, darling? Okay. Is there anything in particular? Are you good with an eye pillow? Good. Is there anything in particular you want to work on? I just feel like I need to. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so you want to work on that? Yeah. What's your intention for that? To be, oh, I love it. Yeah, to just be in flow. So that's a really beautiful intention. Is this comfy on your knees? And are you warm enough? Do you want a blanket? Okay. All right. So I'm going to do some things like I would with a person who's new to Reiki. So I'm just going to say a couple. Okay. So Melanie, during the session, I'll primarily work in silence. But if anything comes up that you want me to know in a moment, please feel free to speak out loud. I'm going to be placing my hands on the areas of your body that generally correspond with your chakras. And is there anything going on physically I should pay attention to? Your thighs? Okay. All right. Good. I can certainly place hands on thighs. I tend to do that anyway. And those are one of the lesser known chakras that we work with. Okay, good. So I'll be placing my hands on the areas corresponding with your chakras. I will not place my hands directly on your breast or your pelvis, but I may do something like that. Is that okay? Okay, good. And then there might be times where I'll kind of come underneath you so that I can get a chakra on the top and the bottom. And so when I do that, you don't have to help me. Just let me do that. Okay? So unfortunately, in a way for Melanie, this is not going to, like I said, it's not going to be a full session. I'm going to be kind of rushing through things with hand positions, and I'm going to be talking, I'm going to be narrating to you guys. So she doesn't necessarily get the full experience, but any Reiki practice is Reiki, right? So you're gonna feel something. So we start at the crown, and I just activate Reiki. And then I ask Melanie, just please take a couple of nice deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And with each exhalation, just let your body begin to melt onto the table. Trust that the body is supported by the table, which is supported by the floor, the foundation of the house, and Mother Gaia herself. So the body can just begin to melt into the table. So I'm already placing my hands on her crown, as you can see. I've activated Reiki by activating the Trishul. One thing I did before that I didn't mention, you didn't see, I'm going to just back off a little bit, Melanie, because it's important. I just stood for a moment. I don't even know if you noticed. And I grounded myself and I sent roots into the earth. And if I needed to, I would put some protection around. I don't feel that need. Then I step in and I place hands. So I start at Saraswata, at the crown, and I wait. What am I waiting for? I'm waiting to feel the alignment of her soul line up and down her body. Once I feel that, then I'm free to move around to place my hands at the next chakra if that feels right. In this case, now I'm going to Actually, I'm catching both Bindu and Ajna this way. My hands are slightly over her ears. And then another way to do this is to come underneath. Don't help me. You make it too easy. Just give me your weight. Okay. And this is a lovely way. I'm getting both the bindu at the kind of the back and remember that the third eye, I'm going to just take this off for a moment. It's like kind of right between the brows, central to the skull. The bindu's a little higher. Saraswara is at the crown. Sorry, I hope you can still breathe. Okay. Now, people that don't like eye pillows, there are people that don't. You can actually just place your hands right over the eyes. It doesn't do so much, I find, when they have an eye pillow. Okay. So I'm going to very quickly go through the chakras and the hand positions. So the third eye and the bindu here, here, okay, or over the eyes. Now I'm going to come down to Vishuddha, the throat. We have to be very careful with the throat, as you probably know, because so many people have had histories, if not in this lifetime, in other lifetimes, of having been choked. No one wants the feeling of being choked. So if you can see, what I'm doing is I'm placing my thumbs at her chin line and then my pinkies just below. So I'm really not touching. I am going to touch just for a moment, Melanie. This would be where the Vishuddha chakra would be located. There's actually a little indent right here. But I'm not going to touch that. I'm just working with it. Now, let's say she's, her issue, she wants to flow more. So I'm thinking actually the two symbols that would be most helpful for that would be Om and actually Hastipala. So at the throat right now, I'm picturing actually an Om Trishul. Now here's the thing about the symbols, right? You can invite them in according to how you feel like they're being used, but you can also invite them to just show up. Initially, it's better to just practice, use your mind and say, okay, I think this symbol would be good here. That symbol will show up or not. Maybe another symbol will show up. If another symbol shows up, trust what shows up. Now, if you've noticed what I just did, I changed positions. So now I've got Vishuddha chakra in the front and underneath in the back. All chakras are medial in the body. There's this tendency to think that they're external, but they're not. They're internal. So when I have a hand on top and a hand underneath, that energy is really penetrating in. Okay. So that's a clearing of Vishuddha, the throat, her ability to speak and to express herself. It's also our will. So sometimes a little relaxation and a little strengthening here, Om Trishul, would be very helpful for someone who wants to just flow more, right? Okay, now the high heart, the Karuna chakra, is halfway between the breastbone and the throat, like right here. And so now I'm just going to come down to that with this one hand. Okay, this is one way. Then the other hand comes underneath, and my fingers underneath are kind of touching that point. The entrance points to the chakras are the ones that are on the top of the body or the sides, and they're called kestrons. So my hands are the kestrons to the chakras. Now, another way to do this would be like this, from here. So I would have gone from here to here to here to here. The attempt is always to keep the fingers contiguous, touching one another. And also, we don't place one hand over another unless there's some very special reason to do that. Even though that looks like it might be more directly over the chakra, it's like we're getting in our own way here. So we use both hands, and my fingertips are really lightly touching the kestrum to the chakra. And I could, from up here, I could do this as well. And it doesn't have to be exact. Now, often in a session, we will work with shoulders, we'll work with arms, especially if they have issues. Sometimes I take a hand, but that's not what I'm going to be demonstrating to you so much today. I find that beginners in particular tend to go to the extremities and not so much to the chakras themselves that again are medial. So now here I am at the heart. You see how I'm handling this? I'm placing my thumbs at the breastbone area. Now, Melanie is quite nicely endowed. If she were even more endowed, that I'd actually be, for lack of a, sorry for saying it this way, I don't know a better way. If I'm actually sticking my thumbs into her cleavage, I'm not going to do that. Okay. Instead, I will go on either side of the breasts. When men are practicing, especially in Kali Ki Reiki, most of our guys don't even do this. Okay. What they do instead is they take one hand underneath and one hand above. Now, for the most part in Kali Ki Reiki, we work hands-on. There are Reiki lineages that work hands-off the whole time, working the aura. My experience is that not everybody's so energetically attuned and they don't feel it. When you're just working in the aura, or they wonder where you are. We try to have two hands on the person at all times. This is an exception. Now you could have the one hand where my either my fingers or my palms are at that place between her shoulder blades in the back. And then you could put the other hand, just below the heart or just above the heart if you're going for the heart. But you see, just above the heart is Karuna, and just below, this is the sternum area, and this is the next chakra. This is Manipura. Again, remember the Kali Ki chakras are just a little different sideways. You can also access the heart from the side, like this. Now, I've worked with many women with breast cancer or breast issues. When they do have particular breast issues, I ask them, I say, would you like me to actually touch the area? Do you want me to place my hands on the area? Actually, most women say yes, they give me permission, in which case I'm very cautious. I kind of run it through them. I'm not going to do this with you right now, Melanie, but let's just go to your thigh for a moment. Okay. So, Melanie, you said you had some issues in your thigh. Is it like right about here? Okay. How's that? Okay, but tell me something's not. Okay, right. Okay, so in other words, if I was working with somebody and I was asking her about her breast, I would say, okay, so now is this at the area? Do I have, yes. Okay, is that comfortable? Yes. She said, but she'll say, well, yeah, but it's a little bit more inward. And I said, do you want me to place my hands there? I mean, I'm very cautious about it. And we do this ahead of time, right? So that we know where is comfortable. Okay. All right. So next chakra, Manipura, sternum, right beneath the heart. I'm doing it from two sides now. Oh, did we already just do this? No. So I can do it this way. I can do it side. The other thing is like this. And there's a contiguous. The fingertips are touching the base of the palm. Again, symbol might switch. This is getting into her self-identification, her self-strength. Trishul's often very good here. Okay, then we're going to move down to the belly button, Nabi chakra. So I'm doing the same thing, the side to side. I can do it outside, or I can do underneath and on top. The thing about the underneath and on top is people feel really held. Does it feel good? Yeah, it tends to feel really nice. Okay, so that's the Nabi chakra right at the navel. That's a pretty safe spot to be touching. Now we're getting down into the pelvic region. All right. I'm very cautious here. Different people have different sizes in this area. And especially, sometimes I work with, in the wintertime, people have a blanket on, and I work on top of the blanket. Well, you can't always know where you're going when you're on top of a blanket. You can actually lift the blanket up, go underneath. But in other words, just be very cautious when you get into this area. And when you get to like the area of the mound, just make sure your hands are not there. So my hand pressure is actually quite light here. Is that comfortable? Okay. But I find the best way to do it is underneath. Now, if I had her roll over, and I used to do this in sessions, I would have them roll over. You can access so much from the back that you can't access from the front. I used to do sessions kind of like a massage therapy where, you'd be half of the session they'd be on their back and half on their front, and I'd have the face cradle. But I don't think people like the interruptions, so I just have them on their back the whole time, unless they've got issues and they can't be on their back. Then they can be in whatever comfortable position they want. They can be on their side. Pregnant women often need lots of pillows and supports, and sometimes need to be on their side. They need pillows between their legs, etc., etc. So again, we really want to accommodate the person and make sure that they're completely comfortable. Okay. So, but the safest really is side. So, okay. So eh, Nabi is fine, however we do it. But when we're getting into the Swadhisthana, the pelvic region, we're here. Now, Melanie wants to flow more. She wants to be less worried about doing more. What's the next thing? What's the next thing? That kind of thing, right, Melanie? So Swadhisthana is our creativity. It's our productivity too, but it's our ability to flow. Its elemental sign is water. So this is an area I would be paying a lot of attention to if we were doing a regular healing session. So I might want to approach it on side, above. I might check with her. Is this comfortable? Let me know if it's not comfortable. And I don't think I did this at the beginning of the session, but at the beginning of a session with someone, I always say, please, when I say I'm going to work mostly in silence, but if there's something you want me to know, please let me know. And please let me know if any touch is at all uncomfortable. Now, let's say I'm getting ready to move from the pelvis to the root, and I accidentally like touch her in the pelvic region. I immediately say, I'm sorry, and then I go to where I was intending to go. You may be working in silence. There may not have been a word uttered for 20 minutes. They may be very deep. They may not feel it. They may not hear it. It doesn't matter. You apologize. Okay. Now, similarly, we don't go when we're starting to get back here. When it's coming down to the root chakra, that's way at the base of the spine, and I do not touch there either. Unless they're having issues at the base of the spine, in which case I'd probably have them on their tummy and we'd be working with it and talking it through. Okay. So root and Swadhisthana are very connected. So I'd be working a lot in this area. And then it's connected also to throat, to will. And then of course we always want heart to just soften and mind to relax, right? So I'd be working in all these areas. But typically what I do is I start at the crown, I come down through each of the chakras sequentially. Now I'm going to go to her thighs, which I would normally do anyway. And I might have asked her, is one thigh bothering you more than the other, or whatever, to see if I need to give a little extra attention. Normally I would do the thighs like this, but she's having some issues. So I might come under to the hamstrings as well on the other side. And I'd work with that. Maybe there'd be another symbol. I might do kind of like a brushing of energy out and down, especially any energy that's gotten balled up in Swadhisthana so that the creativity's not flowing, right? Send it out. And then I tend to go to the knees. Almost everybody needs issues, has stuff with their knees. The shins. Notice I'm not staying here very long, but you can't, you can. The ankles. Now we come to the feet. Just the how you physically hold the feet can be kind of awkward for some people. I try to. Can you show my body a little bit more? Oh, I shouldn't have been wearing white, huh? Okay. So like I kind of have to bend, my knees are bending, and I'm reaching down because I want, if I can, I want the soles of my hands, of my palms at the soles of her feet. The chakras are always medial, right? So you can also do above, but there's something about being at the soles of the feet that's very important. A lot of negative energy releases out of the soles of the feet. So, like when you're doing a hasti bala or something, for yourself, send the energy out the soles of your feet down into the core of the earth. Okay, so what am I doing here? Just absorbing all her negative energy? Let's hope not. So what I'm doing is I'm holding my hands here and I'm visualizing that I am sort of a tube or a channel, that the energy does come out, but it just channels right through me and goes down and out my feet. So we've created a contiguous energy loop. And I'm not absorbing any of it, right? Because I'm a channel, because I'm using symbols, and because I've been attuned. So that's what's happening. Now, there are times when you feel so much negative stuff coming out there, you back away, okay? And you just do this like with intention. There have been times when I actually move aside and I just invite that energy straight down to the core of the earth. Core of the earth, not the earth itself. Down and out. Okay. So again, most of the time we want to have our hands on the person so they don't think that we're out taking a smoke break or something like that. But there are times when we do need to take hands off. Just don't try not to do it for long or keep one hand someplace. Okay. So that will happen from time to time. With the feet again, though, you can do one foot at a time, which is really can feel really lovely. But it's this bottom where we really want to let it release. Now, sometimes you feel something a little bit differently. You feel the energy circulating. It's almost like it comes in through one foot, circulates around, and comes out the other foot. That's actually very healthy. That's a really good energy flow. But almost all of us have stuff that has to be released. Every day we accumulate new karmas. So it's not even always ancient stuff. It's just stuff that needs to be released. And so this is very, very helpful. Okay. So I've gone from the crown to the feet. I've gone through every chakra, right? And typically I would do the same thing, but I'd come up this side, work backwards. We're not going to go through it all until I come back up to the crown. Then we do a little kind of scan, just kind of a reading, like, okay, now that should have washed away what needed to be washed away, clarified, purified. created lots of space. There should be a sense of alignment with the chakras and all of that. So it's like right now I'm just kind of assessing, oh, what else needs to be done? Oh, I still feel just kind of a little stuckness here at the heart. So I'm going to work with that a little bit. Okay, so I've gone down the body, one side, all the chakras, worked my way back up all the chakras. Now I'm specializing. Oh, she carries so much. She carries so much responsibility. There's so much tension here in these shoulders. Okay, I work on those a little bit. But anyway, I got moved. I just felt called to go to her Karuna chakra and to her abdominal area here, actually kind of between the two chakras. And of course, we hold a lot of tension in our abdominal area. It's also our self-image. And here is Karuna chakra. Karuna chakra is self-compassion. And so my sense is that, you know, this is a call for Melanie to have compassion for herself. And that by being maybe more compassionate to herself, maybe she can also flow a little more. Okay, and then I'm just going to do a little more brushing. So I might feel pulled to do something else, but for right now, we're just going to bring it to a close. I'm going to come down to the feet one more time to let whatever else needed to be released, release. And then I always end at the crown. Other schools will end at the feet. I always end at the crown. It comes back to where I started. Everything goes full circle. Now, from here, when I'm doing an individual session, which I'm doing right now, I will draw the Hasti from bottom to top, and then from top to bottom, surround her in it. Finish. Then I lightly touch her on the shoulders and I say, Melanie, my portion of this work is complete. The Reiki is going to continue to work within you because it is the love force within you. So I'd like you to just continue to rest here for a few more minutes. I'm going to go get you a drink of water. I'll be back in a few minutes and I'll let you know when it's time. Okay. So I've said that, I leave, I come back. Got music playing, etc. Now, just a couple of things. When I come back, I still let her have some time. Oh, also, I didn't even show the bowls. Usually towards the end of the session, I do some sound healing. I place bowls on her. We won't do that right now for a time. Okay, so anyway, one thing I want to say is this is like doing a full-on session. I don't know if you're going to have that many opportunities to do full-on sessions, but I'm just showing you where the hand placements are. A lot of times you're just going to be working with people who are sitting, and that's absolutely fine. But I wanted you to see what will happen in a full-on session. And what I was just saying is I usually do some sound healing toward the end of it. It really helps to solidify and, you know, it helps the vibration in there. But this was the main thing for you to see the main hand positions. If somebody is seated, it affects how you access their chakras, but it's still basically the same thing. If you don't have time to do a whole session, right? Here's something we do when we're doing group practice. Every Thursday morning, we have a group and we do group hands, you know, hands on. The first and foremost place to start is the crown. If you only can do the crown, you can only do the crown. That's okay. Then the feet, the thighs, the hips. This is the root chakra. We really want to make sure people are grounded. So if you only had a short amount of time and you weren't working on something physical directly, you would want to do First head, feet, thighs, heart. This is kind of like order of importance. Gut, and then so on. I think that's a little too much to be worrying about right now. Okay, so I think we'll go ahead and we will bring this to a close. So Melanie, how are you feeling?
That was good. I could feel like as you go down the chakras, like my right leg would kind of start to like relax more and more and more. And I could feel the energy when you were pulling, I think, out of my feet, going through. So I feel good.
Great, good. And we were just chatting all the way through and it wasn't a full session. You should do a full session. Okay, so I'm gonna take this off, but keep your eyes closed for a moment because it's gonna feel really bright, the contrast. See, it's really bright.
It's really bright.
Yeah, I know. It's like you go so deep and you don't realize even how deep you've gone. Yeah, so just take your time. And then I make sure, like, I invite them to like do a little stretching and moving on the table. I tell them to just sit up on the edge of the table for a bit. You just don't want anybody jumping off a table very quickly. They think they're fine and then they realize, whoa. Yeah.
Maybe at that time.
Yeah. And it's good when you do get off the table, and I would have you sit there for a few breaths. But when you do get off the table, then just stand and ground for a bit. So when we're doing this from the side, this is what we do. I start in the center. I pull the line out. Now I'm picturing this within her, not on top of her. And then I make the motions, the gestures of coiling up. And I only go from the ankles up to the third eye and then coming back down and wrapping again. Now, what I'm trying to do, what this is portraying is I'm not just doing it again on top of her. It's going all the way around her. I just can't, I can't physically do that, but it's happening. I only just do it once up and once down. And then I only go to the third eye. And why is that? Because we want the crown to remain open. And the same thing, we want the energy on the feet to remain open. The soul line is infinite. We don't want to close it off. One more thing. Okay, just right from here, I drew the line like that. Okay. All right. Thank you, Melanie.